AITA when the police came to arrest my son for a $100,000 robbery, but froze after seeing him? My name is Adrian. I'm 34 years old, and I'm a purchasing manager at a local building supply store. According to my family, I'm the responsible one. I'm the older of two. Me, the quiet one, the one who crunches the numbers, and my sister Cassandra, 30, the brilliant one, the one destined for great things. I'm married to Maris. We live in a small apartment in a walk-up in Queens with our son Ezra, who is 8 months old and has 2 teeth that he shows off like trophies. As a kid, I was the one who cleared the plates without being asked. Cassandra was the star. Don't bother the girl. She has her conservatory audition. Don't tire her out. She has an exam tomorrow. Meanwhile, I was the one hearing. Can you go to the bank to pay the electric bill? Can you take your mom to the doctor? I never complained. It was my role. Background, shadow, support. The house smells of zucchini puree and cold coffee. It's 7:14 in the morning. Ezra is sleeping in his bassinet in the living room. Maris is trying to do her hair with one hand while answering messages from her work group with the other. 23 notifications since 6:50. I'm preparing the milk bottles. I double-check that the 10 o'clock bottle is in the fridge. I count bottles and pacifiers like someone counting coins. The doorbell rings. It's not a single ring, it's a burst. 3 short presses, 2 long, insistent ones. Are you expecting someone? Maris asks me, her hair half up. No, not even delivery drivers at this hour. They ring again, louder this time. I go to the door. I peek through the peephole. 2 uniformed police officers. My heart makes a strange click, like a cash register jamming. Yes. I ask in the voice I use at work when something doesn't add up. Police department. Mr. Adrian Calder. That's me. Open up, please. I open the door. 2 officers enter, a tall woman with a ponytail and a man holding a blue folder. Their boots sound like they're marching in step down my hallway. We received a complaint and have a warrant. We're here to arrest your son for a robbery of $10,000, says the man with the folder, not quite looking at me, as if he already knows what he's going to find. Maris appears behind me, pale. Ezra lets out a little whimper. I'm frozen to the spot. Excuse me. I say, my son. Yes, your son. Residing at this address. Robbery at a jewelry store downtown. Estimated value, $10,000. The female officer reads without looking up. My son. A nervous laugh escapes me. My son is a baby. The officers look at me like I just told a bad joke. They walk into the living room. They see the bassinet. They see Ezra in his cloud-patterned pajamas, no top teeth, wearing a teddy bear bib. They fall silent for a second that feels like an eternity. That's him, the man says. That's Ezra. He's 8 months old. Maris replies, covering him with his little blanket as if the world could come in through the window and take him away. The female officer sighs, asks for my ID, asks for the baby's birth certificate, copies down information, checks the address on the warrant, checks the son's name. There's a name on there that doesn't match any of us, but it does share our last name. The male officer frowns. There's a mistake. Someone is using this address, he says. And in that moment, I feel something old and familiar rise in my throat. It's not fear, it's years of exhaustion, that feeling that the mistake always lands on the same person. Me. My phone rings. Mom. 7:22. I hang up. It rings again. 7:23. It rings again. 7:24. 3 calls in 2 minutes. I think to myself, Mom always calls when there's trouble, but never when everything is calm. Open the window. It's hot. The officer says, friendly now, as if the fresh air will clear our heads. I open it. Random scenes flash through my mind. Papers, signatures, co-signing loans. Just one favor, Adrian, you're the one who knows about numbers. And a very specific voice, Cassandra's, the same as always, self-assured, caressing her words. Don't be dramatic, Adrian, you're the oldest. That's what you're for. I send a voice message to my mom. Everything's fine, I'll call you later. 30 seconds later, a text from Cassandra arrives. What did you do now? People are messaging me. No good morning, not even an are you okay? Just that. As if the mistake was inevitably mine. The officer hands me back my ID. We're going to verify with our sergeant. It could be a nephew, someone with the same name, someone who gave your address. Don't leave town, she says. Maris squeezes my hand. I look at Ezra and say in a low voice, My son is a baby. God, don't shout, Maris whispers. Listen, the Boots are back in the hallway. The officers step out for a moment to talk on their radio. We're left in silence. The only sounds are Ezra's breathing and the coffee maker, which, out of habit, is still on. My phone vibrates again. Cassandra. Again. Adrian. Mom says you're making a scene with the police at your house. What did you do? And in that message, unintentionally, I feel the first crack of the day, that small rumble that announces something is about to break. The story of how I ended up with 2 police officers in my living room doesn't start today. It starts years ago, when I still said yes without thinking. When Dad was healthy, when Cassandra was already showing promise, when I believed that being useful was the same as being loved. Dad had a bike shop. I learned to adjust brakes before I learned to shave. Cassandra played the piano in competitions. What hands? What an ear? Everyone would repeat. To me, they'd say, how responsible. That word that sounds like a compliment, but weighs as much as a headstone when they hang it on you forever. At 19, I started working and taking night classes for my accounting degree. By 22, I was paying half the mortgage. Dad would pat me on the back. I don't know what I'd do without you. Cassandra, on the other hand, was studying at an expensive music school. It's her future, Mom would say. She's a talent. I kept quiet and crunched the numbers. It's just for now, I'd tell myself. Then came the first emergency. Cassandra was going on tour with a quartet. They were about $200 short for the trip. Adrian, it's the opportunity of a lifetime, Dad said with that mix of pride and urgency. I gave it to them. We'll pay you back later. That money never came back, but more emergencies did. Adrian, your father's car, $800. Adrian, the repair for Cassandra's piano, $600. Adrian, the rent went up, $200. Adrian, the tuition, $1,500. And always the same ending. Thanks, son. You're a saint. I convinced myself that the gratitude was enough, that that's how family is. But every time I asked for something, can you watch Ezra for an afternoon? Maris has a shift, and I'm closing at the store. The answer was Cassandra has rehearsal, or your father is tired. As if their time was gold and mine was loose change. When Dad got sick, everything intensified. Hospital, shifts, bills. I organized everything. Appointments, paperwork, insurance. Cassandra would visit on Sundays, play a few chords to cheer him up, and leave. Her music is so necessary, Mom would say. I stood in line at the administration office and paid. Your organization is so necessary, they'd say sometimes. Sometimes not even that. I married Maris. A simple girl, Mom said, as if it were a lesser metal. Maris works as an aide at a nursing home. She's strong and calm. When Ezra was born, everything became small and urgent at the same time. The fridge, the late nights, the bills. And still, I continued to carry the weight of 2 households on my shoulders. Then Dorian, my uncle's son, entered the picture. My cousin, 24 years old, a friendly face but poor in judgment, always in Cassandra's shadow in family photos, her in the center, him laughing off to the side. A year ago, he disappeared from Christmas dinner with dessert in hand and reappeared a month later asking my mom for $500 for a course. They gave him $200. Then he came to me for rent. I gave him $150. He never paid anything back. In March, the bank called me. Someone had tried to open an account with my ID. I went in. They told me the system blocked it because the ID didn't match the photo. Someone had used my name and my address. I filed a report. My hands were shaking as I signed. This happens a lot, the police officer at the station said. Sometimes it's family, sometimes it's not. I shook my head. Not family. I was raised with the idea that family doesn't stab you in the back. But the comment stuck with me. Meanwhile, Cassandra was advancing. She uploaded videos to Instagram. Cassandra called her piano. Tours in auditoriums, photos in expensive dresses. On every post, Mom commented with hearts. Underneath, I'd put a discreet bravo. She never commented on my photos of Ezra. One day I texted her, "Can you guys come see him on Saturday?" She left me on read. 2 days later, she replied, "I have rehearsal." Another day. Last Monday, Mom called me at 8:07 a.m., a missed call. 8:09, another. 8:11, another. I called back. "Son, someone called asking for your boy. They mentioned a debt." I said I didn't know anything. "But please, Take care of your affairs. It's embarrassing for us, she said, and that word burned me. Embarrassment. What boy? Mom, Ezra is 8 months old. I don't know, Adrian. They said your son. I got scared. I called your sister to ask if she knew anything. She told me to talk to you, that you're the one who handles the accounts. You're the one who handles the accounts. Of course. That same afternoon, Cassandra texted me. Mom is nervous about that thing with your son. Take him for a checkup. We don't want him doing anything serious. I replied, it's about an adult debt. She left me on read. Maris found me staring at the ceiling. What's wrong? She asked. That in this family, if money is involved, it's always my problem. It's not your family. It's our family. And I'm not going to let them break you, she said, hugging me. On Wednesday at 9:40 a.m., Dorian posted a story in a sports car. With the homies, he wrote. I looked at the leatherette seats. I laughed so I wouldn't cry. I commented, nice rental. A minute later, I got a private message. Calm down, cousin. It's not yours. I left it at that. My stomach twisted into a knot. Today, at 7:14 a.m., 2 police officers were at my door. Someone had used my address to cover up a $10,000 jewelry theft, and the warrant said, son of Adrian Calder. My 8-month-old son. While the officers were on the radio, my phone was blowing up. Mom, again. 7:27, 7:29, 7:33. Then, Aunt Selma. Is everything okay? A 1-minute and 58-second voice message. I listened to it. Adrian, sweetie, they're saying in the group chat that the police went to your house. What happened? It's about Cassandra. She's very nervous. You know, these are things that need to be resolved within the family. You've always been the most sensible one. Don't fail us. Don't fail us. I've heard that phrase for as long as I can remember. Don't fail us, but don't expect anything in return. Don't fail us, but open your wallet. Don't fail us, but if you get tired, don't make a fuss. The officers returned from the hallway. We've spoken with our sergeant. The name listed as son doesn't match your baby's, obviously. It does, however, match a 24-year-old adult, last name Calder, who is on record as having given this address, the female officer said. My cousin, I said without thinking. Name, the male officer asked. Dorian. They looked at each other, took notes. The officer said, we'll check. It could be a mix-up, but if he gave this address, we'll be back to ask more questions. We'll need your cooperation. Don't leave the city. Maris leaned against the doorframe. I nodded. The female officer gave me a look that was a mixture of apology and procedure. And please, be careful with your documents. It happens a lot, she said, repeating the same thing they told me in March. When they left, the apartment felt empty of boots, but full of internal noise. I sat on the floor. Maris handed me a cup of now cold coffee. Ezra opened his eyes and looked at me as if everything were simple. Hunger, sleep, diaper. Are you going to call your mother? Maris asked. Yes. I called. Mom answered on the second ring. Son, what have you done? She blurted out as if a verdict had already been reached. Nothing, Mom. They came because of a wrong address. They're looking for Dorian. Dorian? No way. Dorian is a good kid. He's probably just mixed up in some young people's stuff. Besides, if he gave your address, there must be a reason. You've always been like a brother to him. Mom, my son is a baby, and they came for my son. Oh, don't be so dramatic. You always exaggerate. Talk to your cousin. Help him. That's what family is for. And that's when I knew. The mix-up wasn't an accident. It was the same old pattern, reappearing in a new disguise. That Saturday, they held a lunch to talk it over. At my parents' house. 2:30, I brought a 7-layer dip. Maris made a potato salad. Cassandra arrived late, wearing sunglasses, expensive perfume, a picture-perfect smile. Dorian was there, in a new sweatshirt and it's not a big deal look on his face. Dad was quiet almost the whole time. He's coughing more. He just stares at his plate. Mom kept filling glasses and avoiding my eyes. The topic came up during dessert. Adrian, Mom began. We need to sort out this address thing. The police asked about your cousin. He said he lives at your house. That's not true, I said. He lives with his father or his friends. Who knows? Dorian smirked. It was a misunderstanding, cousin. I gave your address because there's always someone there for, mail. I didn't think that the police would come to arrest my 8-month-old son for a $10,000 robbery. I finished. A silence fell. Cassandra raised her hand as if in a rehearsal. Okay, we're all on edge, but the important thing here is to help. Dorian is in a mess. And you, Adrian, are the most level-headed. You can talk to a lawyer, sort out the paperwork, negotiate something. Negotiate what, Cassandra? I asked. She sighed like someone explaining the obvious. The jewelry store owner is demanding $10,000. We know it's not all real, that they inflate the numbers, but we have to put something on the table. If we put down, say, $2,000 now, he'll calm down. Then we'll figure out the rest. You've always known how to put things in order. $10,000. The words dropped like a stone in the middle of the table. Excuse me, Maris said for the first time. $2,000 from where? Cassandra looked at me, not at Maris. Adrian, you have savings and you're responsible for the baby, for the rent. You know how to deal with banks. You could take out a loan. Dorian will pay you back. I laughed. It was an ugly sound. Dorian didn't pay me back $150, I said. That's different, Mom said. This is serious. The family can't be tarnished by this. Your sister has concerts. Your father is frail. We can't handle a scandal. If you help now, you help all of us. We'll make it up to you later. How? I asked. How did you make up for the tuition, the car, the piano? Mom's lips tightened. Don't keep score, son. That's ugly. I always keep score, I said. It's the only thing I've done since I can remember. Dad looked up. Son, don't fight. Just fix it. Dorian held up his hands. Look, cousin, I didn't take anything. I was with some people. They used me. I just gave your address because your family and you're, the one who solves things. I saw myself from the outside. The one who solves, the one who pays, the one who stays quiet. I felt the hard chair against my back. My throat felt dry. I looked at Maris, who was watching me with a mix of love and alarm. I took a slow breath and spoke, for the first time, without my voice shaking. I'm not putting up $2,000. I'm not taking out a loan. I'm not talking to a lawyer about something I didn't do. I'm not putting my name or my son's name on the line to get Dorian out of a mess he got himself into. No. Cassandra let out a short laugh. Don't get all high and mighty, Adrian. This isn't about you. It's about the family. The family is not an ATM, I said. Mom slammed her palm on the table. Lower your voice. The neighbors. Maris took my hand. I continued. I've paid bills, tuition, repairs. I've given my time, my nights, my days. If you want something more now, the answer is no. Cassandra scowled. What's wrong with you? It's envy. Does it bother you that I've gotten so far? I looked at her, tired. This isn't about your career, it's about my boundaries. You're getting revenge, Mom said, her eyes welling up. I shook my head. No, this isn't about revenge. It's about putting a stop to it. The phrase came out on its own, clear and final, like a line from a movie I'd saved for a day like this. I liked how it sounded. A full stop. A clean break. Another silence fell. Dorian muttered. So what do I do? You show up with a public defender and tell the truth, I said. And you change your life. If you don't, the police will come again. But you're not coming into my house. Not into my bank account either. And you're staying away from my son. Cassandra looked at me as if she were seeing a stranger. You're tearing the family apart, she said. The family was already broken. I was just the one holding it together with my own hands. Mom got up and went to the kitchen. I heard the tap water running. Dad looked down at his plate again. Maris squeezed my hand tighter. I felt light and scared at the same time. The following days were a carousel of missed calls and marathon text messages. My phone's call log looked like a medical chart. 9:01 Mom. 9:15 Aunt Selma. 9:17 Cassandra. 9:21 Dad. I didn't answer most of them, only the ones that were necessary. I learned to look at the name and breathe before deciding. The first night, I dreamed that I opened the door and a river of people came in asking for favors. I woke up with my shirt stuck to my skin. Maris handed me some water. You're doing the right thing, she said. You're not alone. At the store, my boss asked if everything was okay. I nodded. I talked to him about screws, an order, the pliers that were missing. At 11:03, Mom called. Son, your cousin is doing very badly. He's scared. He doesn't know where to start. Could you maybe? No, Mom. I've already said what I will and won't do. If Dorian wants, I can send him the number for the public defender's office. How cold, she said. I don't recognize you. Well, I recognize myself. I replied and hung up with cold hands. Cassandra left me 12 voice messages in one day. I listened to one. It summed everything up. Adrian, look, I spoke to some people. If we put up $1,500 now, the jewelry store will drop the charges, and this will all be forgotten. It's affecting me professionally. They already canceled one of my performances. Don't be selfish. Besides, you can afford it. You always could. Don't make things difficult for us. I sent back a text. No. She replied with a 14-line paragraph. I didn't read it. Mute. I learned the mute button like someone learns to turn off a faucet. Dorian texted me on WhatsApp. Bro, sorry about the address. It was I wasn't thinking. I'm scared. If you help me, I swear I'll change. Talk to the lawyer. Tell the truth. Pay back what you can. Work and change, I replied. What if they put me away? I can't prevent that. He stopped texting. A little while later, I received a screenshot. Appointment with lawyer. Monday 10:30. I felt a sort of rough relief. That same day, at 6:22 p.m., the police called again. This time they didn't come in. They asked if I knew Dorian's whereabouts. I gave them his number. They thanked me. The officer said, "You did the right thing by setting boundaries. These things get complicated when family thinks it's just a favor." I know. I said and hung up with a mix of shame and pride I'd never felt before. Maris and I agreed on a simple plan. Sleep when possible. Take Ezra for a walk every day, even if it's just for 20 minutes. Make short to-do lists. We stuck a sheet of paper on the fridge. Actual monthly expenses. There were small but clear numbers. Rent, electricity, diapers, milk. The sum in red, $973. The account balance in blue, $1,200. We have some wiggle room, Maris said and smiled. It was the first time in weeks that a number didn't make me want to run. On Thursday, Mom showed up at our door unannounced. 8:50 a.m. She was carrying a bag with Tupperware and a cloud on her face. I came to see Ezra, she said, not quite looking at me. I let her in. She played with him for 5 minutes, then started in. Your sister is devastated. They're saying your cousin dragged her into his messes, and now they don't want to hire her for a series of concerts. If you had just, she began. Mom, I cut her off. No, not anymore. What kind of son are you? She snapped, and the blow didn't land on my chest. It hit somewhere deeper. I breathed. The kind of son who is also a father and a husband and a person. She fell silent. She looked at Ezra, who was sucking on his foot. With a brusque gesture, she left the bag on the table. I brought you lentils. Eat, she said, as if that could erase what she'd said. Thanks, I replied. But don't come over like this. If you want to come, let me know. If you come, don't ask me for money or blame me. If you can't do that, then it's better if you don't come. She looked at me as if I'd said something outrageous. You're giving your own mother conditions? She asked, offended. No, I'm setting them for myself, and you decide if you'll respect them, I said. She left without another word. That afternoon, she sent me a text. Sorry for shouting. I'm on edge. I sent her a picture of Ezra with a spoonful of puree. She replied with a heart. Silence. Cassandra didn't write for 2 days. Then she appeared with an unexpected message. The police called me to ask about Dorian. I told them the truth. Don't drag me into this. I laughed, weary. I was never dragging her into anything. But she was in the middle of everything without wanting to get her hands dirty. The following Saturday was Dad's birthday. 67. I went with Maris and Ezra. I brought a cake. Cassandra didn't come. I have a gala. We arrived at 1:17. There were 3 wrinkled balloons and a tablecloth with old stains. Dad smiled when he saw Ezra. Look at him. He's already got a mischievous face, he said and gave me a hug that smelled of metal and old cologne. Mom was tense but polite. We ate lentils, the same ones from the other day. Midway through, Dad brought it up. Dorian went with the lawyer. They say if he pays back part of it, he'll avoid jail time, he said without looking at me. And where is he going to get the money to pay it back? I asked. I don't know, Mom said. He'll work. Could you help him get a job at the store? I'm not going to do that, I said. I'm sorry. A silence fell, but it didn't burn me anymore. It felt like putting a heavy backpack on the ground. It's still heavy, but it's on the ground. That afternoon, I received 7 calls from unknown numbers. I didn't answer. Finally, a voice message. This is the owner of the jewelry store. If you want this to not get any bigger, you'll talk to me. Your cousin told us you would take care of it. I deleted the message, blocked the number, and sent a text to Dorian. Don't ever give my number to anyone again. He replied, sorry. I blocked Dorian, too. I slept like I hadn't slept since Ezra was born, a heavy, 4-hour stretch of deep sleep. When I woke up, I felt a space in my head that used to be occupied by voices. I took the opportunity to clean out my email, setting up filters, unsubscribing from things, deleting urgent emails that weren't. I saved the receipts from the police report in a digital folder, identity_theft_March. I set a password. I sent it to Maris. In case something happens to me, it's all there, I said. Nothing's going to happen to you, she replied. I know, but now I think of myself the way I think of my spreadsheets, with order. On the third day of not answering Cassandra, I got a text from Dad. Your sister is coming for lunch on Sunday. Are you coming? I thought about it. I replied, yes, with conditions. If money is discussed, I'm leaving. If blame is discussed, I'm leaving. If there's respect, I'll stay. Dad replied with a thumbs-up emoji. It was the first time he'd accepted a boundary without arguing. On Sunday, the table was quiet at first. Cassandra arrived dressed in black, her eyes hidden. She ate little, talked about nothing, and then suddenly blurted out, they canceled 2 of my dates. They say they don't want any trouble. I'm sorry, I said. You could have prevented it, she said. I calmly picked up my glass. No, Dorian could have prevented it. And so could you, if you had stopped asking someone else to fix your problems. Someone else? You're my brother, she said. Yes, and I'm also Ezra's father, I replied. Maris touched my knee under the table. Mom, for once, said nothing. Dad said, let's have dessert. And we did. And I stayed. I didn't leave. Because for the first time, a family meal wasn't a complete ambush. It was uncomfortable, yes, but I didn't feel guilty for breathing. That night, I checked my accounts again. The balance hadn't changed much, but I had. 3 weeks have passed since the police visit. Dorian showed up with his lawyer. He got a serious reprimand and a blurry future. I don't know if he'll go to prison. It's not my problem. I closed the door to unknown numbers, to debts disguised as favors, to speeches about family first that only meant, Adrian, you pay. Mom calls less. When she does, she actually asks about Ezra. Is he crawling yet? Cassandra doesn't speak to me, except to send photos of concert programs with my name in the list of invited family members. Crossed out. I find it funny. Dad sends me short texts. I love you, son. I reply, I love you too. We don't talk about money. My house is quieter. It's not a sad silence. It's a fulfilling one. I can hear Ezra breathing when he sleeps. I can hear Maris singing softly when she does the dishes. I've learned to leave my phone face down after 8 p.m. I've learned to write no without justifying it with 10 paragraphs. I didn't get rich. I didn't become a hero. I just stopped being an ATM. And the world didn't end. The world just rearranged itself. There are calls I don't return, and I don't feel bad about it. There are texts I don't read, and I don't feel guilty. There are boundaries that were once pencil lines and are now brick walls. With doors, yes, but with locks. Sometimes I look at Cassandra's social media, I see her playing. I'm happy for her if she's doing well. If she's not, I don't come running. If she asks me for money, the answer will be the same. I don't hate anyone. I'm not keeping an inventory of grievances. I'm just keeping my boundaries. And my small family, the one that sleeps in my house, Maris and Ezra. If I learned anything from all this, it's this. Loving is not paying. Being the oldest is not being the bank. Responsibility without reciprocity is just exploitation with good manners. And saying no doesn't break families, it just breaks habits. I'll end with what I told myself that day at the table, when the phrase just came out, and maybe that's why I truly heard myself. This isn't about revenge. It's about putting a stop to it. Closing to be able to open, closing to be able to grow. Closing so that my son, that baby they once wanted to arrest, learns that his father didn't let just anyone stomp into his house with their boots on. I will not let them use my name, my account, or my silence again. I will not give up my hours for the promise of an empty thank you. I will not use my son as a shield. I'm the same person as always, but now with a padlock. And for the first time, I sleep without the feeling that someone is waiting in line at my door. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.